Well, welcome, Monica, to the Flower Podcast. We're so excited to have you today.
Oh my God, thank you. I'm honored to be here. I'm so excited.
Well, I have been hearing just through the grapevine some buzzing and some just exciting things that are happening with projects you're working on. And so I definitely want to learn all about those. But before we do that, I have to find out, how did you get interested in the world of flowers?
Oh my God. Since I was a kid, I have loved flowers. I had a mama that we say mama because we're from the South, and I know you understand that. for
I
for all the
do.
other listeners out there, that's your grandma. And my mama would take me around her house and show me her flower beds. And I mean, she would do it almost every week when I stayed there. Just, these are, begonias, and I just planted these, and look how many have sprouted up since last week. And I think if I'm really going back far, that's probably the first time that I would really get excited to see flowers. And then in college, I was a broke college kid, and I would always get flowers to put out on my table because they made me feel so good and they had no rhyme or reason behind it. I was like, I should probably use this to buy like bread or peanut butter this week, right? But I always loved to have those flowers out. And yeah, that was my first love. And um, I don't know if you want to go into the piece where I kind of started working with flowers, but
Yeah, sure.
um, I have always loved them. I never ever thought I would work with them. I always just thought it would be something pretty on my table. And I was spending some time in Paris several years ago. I worked remotely for a digital company and did their digital marketing, and so
Wow.
I would travel all over and work remotely and just, yeah, wherever I could park up and get Wi-Fi, that's where I go. And I was sitting at a little cafe in Paris, and I was having a pastry, and I was admiring the flower shops across the street, and had this whim of a thought. It would be so fun to bake pastries or cakes and put edible flowers in them, and didn't think much about it. I just thought this will be fun. I'm gonna, build my website. And I built a website that night and put together some fun recipe ideas, and thought, man, whenever I get home, I'm gonna tell all my girlfriends like that I'm gonna do this on the side, and it'll be so fun, just a little fun side business when I've got time. And one of my first clients was the Oscars. And
Oh my goodness.
so I went from almost nothing, no kitchen, no equipment, thinking I'm going to bake for my girlfriends on the side, to catering the Oscars and putting these desserts with flowers in them in Lady Gaga's dressing room and Bradley Cooper's and Barbara Streisand, and putting them in the green rooms. And that was my first whim into the flower world. It just happened out of nowhere.
Oh my goodness. That's
So
amazing. I mean, and what great publicity for you too, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure you had to be recognized, right?
yeah, and it really started my business, and I ended up quitting my other job. I went full time during the pandemic. I actually quit my steady digital job and was like, you know what, I want to do this. And as I was in that world, I saw, you know what, actually, I don't want to do this. I'm not the baker, but I love the flowers. I see this huge gap in the market, and I think that I can bring something really special to the people that work with flowers every day. So it was
I
a
love that.
nice little transition.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. Was it difficult to source edible blooms?
I found a company out of California called Gourmet Sweet Botanicals, and I started using them for all of my desserts. So that was really nice. And then, of course, anything I could forage out in the mountains, I would, knowing that it didn't have any pesticides on it or anything like that.
Sure.
Yeah, note, do not do that unless you know that there are no pesticides being used, for all the listeners out there. But yeah, I got really into it, and I would have flowers delivered almost every week to make these desserts. And That was, it was as I was making these desserts, I was looking at, what are the health benefits of having some of these flowers in your foods? What are the different flavor profiles? And really just going down this rabbit hole and finding all of the information that was out there was skewed across all different types of platforms. And then I got into the deep dive of, well, there's health benefits to edible flowers. Are there health benefits to having just flowers around you and in your home? And I went on that dive and I started looking into all these different health benefits of flowers and all these different uses, and just found that there was a lot of information out there skewed across a lot of different platforms. And then when it came to education or entertainment, it was very old school, outdated shows and education that have been put together. And that's really what sparked this initial idea between myself and my business partner, Devin Kearns. Uh, we sat down and said, you know what, there's a missing piece here. There's a Food Network, there's an HGTV, where's the network for flowers? And that question sparked an entire journey that is getting very exciting.
That is really exciting. And of course, that was the reason why I really wanted to connect with you, because I thought I've been hearing about this new network and what you've been doing. So that is really the main reason I was so excited to connect with you, is because from some of our past guests and from just things I've seen on social media, I'm really excited about this new network you're putting together. And so tell us how this all began. Tell us, let's start from the beginning. And I'm really excited about it.
Oh man, you know what? It was a journey. It is still a journey. We are in a very incredible part of this whole journey right now, because so much is still unfolding and so much is still evolving as we're building this. But the initial start of it, going back, it was that question. It was, there's a Food Network, there's an HGTV. Why is there not a network for flowers? And so my business partner and I sat down and we really looked at, how could we set this up? How could we create this network? Now, mind you, we've never created a TV network before, but who cares? Let's do this, right? Somebody's got to start
That's
somewhere.
right.
And we sat down and really mapped it out. Everything that we put on paper and mapped out has completely changed. Every time we thought we had, okay, this is it, we would modify, we would revamp, and it was just such a beautiful process of, oh my God, every time we got closer and closer to, this is going to be incredible. And we initially started by creating some professional videos, almost like little pilot videos
Yeah.
that we could pitch to potential sponsors, or send out to the world and let people know that we're here and that we're a legit company and we're building something incredible. So I did what all entrepreneurs with no seed funding do, and I called my family. My sister is she's her partner is a video producer out in Florida, and he's got this incredible company. And I called in a family favor and I said, listen, we can't pay you, but we've got a sweet deal for you. We're going to fly you out here to shoot and work for free. And we're going to reference you whenever we send this out. We're going to let people know you shot it. And of course, they laughed. They're incredible and wanted to help. And they came out here and out to Denver. And I called a couple of people within the floral industry that I had met through baking goods for them in the past. A lot of these florists wanted my baked goods because they were fun with flowers in them and were fun for them to give out to their clients. So I called in some favors there and I said, we want to cover these topics. Can you talk about it on camera? And what's crazy is we shot this in October of last year. And while our videos are being edited, two shows at the same time released in, I believe, October, early November on two different major sources that were flower competition shows.
Sure.
And my partner and I immediately, we looked at each other and we said, wow, that is verification right there that we're doing this at the right time and that people want this. And so yeah, that was the first step. And then we just started, I started cold calling and reaching out to people in the industry, probably looking like a spam bot on Instagram. I had no followers. We had no website up. Meanwhile, I'm calling and I'm like, hey, we've got this idea and we're going to make it happen. And it was just so funny because we had incredible response across the board. We had 2 major flower companies, one of the biggest in the US, immediately, want to partner with us. And we're like, wow, really? Like, we don't have our site up yet. And it was this incredible journey. We did a lot of outreach and, told people the vision. And once we got a few people on board, it just began to snowball. And so now we're, fast forward, we're at over 80 experts across the globe. We've got people in Asia and Africa, throughout Europe, all throughout the US, all different languages, all different backgrounds, talking about flowers. And, it ranges from everything. And, people doing videos on cooking with flowers to interior design to, scientists that are talking about the effects that flowers have on your mental health. And then you've got the people foraging and floral design. And it's just expanded beyond our wildest dreams. And we haven't even launched yet. So
It's so incredible. I'm so excited for you. So, Bloom TV, when does it officially launch?
So we are opening up Bloom TV in December, very end of December, to our Backstage Pass members and our lifetime members. We have just started letting people know about this. We're only going to have 1,000 spots open for memberships. And this is going to be our testing phase where we're letting people get that first inside look at the experts and the content. And they're going to be the only ones that can see it until spring for our big launch.
So they can be part of the beta group.
They can be part of the beta group. And the original founders, we are offering this incredible lifetime membership. And we said, let's open it up and we'll give 1,000 people a lifetime membership instead of paying a subscription every month. And so, yeah, we just kind of pulled the trigger on that, and going to be opening that up this Friday for our Black Friday sales. And yeah, so
fun.
it's exciting.
So, okay, so what kind of content are you hoping? I know you've talked about a lot of different kind of people, but obviously with a name like Bloom TV, I'm thinking, I mean, obviously the sky's the limit. You have such a wide opportunity for all kind of content, but like, who do you feel like is your market? Who is your ideal viewer?
Yeah, you know what? It's the lover and appreciator of flowers in general. It's everything from the consumer to the professionals in the industry that want to learn from other professionals, to the people who don't even know they like flowers, but they love that beautiful aesthetic and want something beautiful playing in their home. So it really, it's a broad audience, and we want it to be. There's a bigger vision behind all of this, and I'll just to bring it in and also expand out on what we're trying to do here is I feel incredibly called to help people to restore Eden. And it's this concept I'm obsessed with, is how do we help people restore Eden? And I think the answer to that is you start by helping people to restore their own inner Eden. And with this, we're helping people to do that through that mental health and connection to flowers, to nature, to restoring their outer Eden, how to bring beauty into their homes through floral centerpieces and design that brings nature aspects in. To restoring their outer Eden. How do we create beautiful gardenscapes? How do we get people really involved, and their families involved in this pure divine connection with nature, and really getting out there and enjoying the beauty that it produces? And I think that's really important. And so there's Bloom TV, and there's this network dedicated to all things floral. But really, this bigger vision is we're we're not targeting a certain person or type of people here. We're opening it up for this piece of beauty that we hope people can just enjoy and learn how to implement into their lives, because there's so much here in the flowers, so underutilized and so under appreciated in some cases. But yet it's that universal language. We grieve with flowers, we show our appreciation, we show we're sorry, um we get it for our mother-in-laws when we don't know what else to get them. And there's this there
We
people
celebrate with them.
I mean, you celebrate with them, right? You just it's this beautiful thing that everybody at some point has bought or has been given. And now we're about to show people why it goes a lot deeper than just the gift. There's something really special behind it, and it's a connector, and it's something that across the globe, it's used in the same way.
Mm. It's so powerful. And I think too, that the thing I'm hearing that resonates with me so much is, being with my background and working with floral professionals, I hear
Mhm.
all the time people come in and they second guess themselves, like, well, I'm not sure what goes with what, or I'm good at this, but I'm not good at that. Like,
Mhm.
that's too complicated for me to conquer or whatever. And I like
Mhm.
what I hear is you're bringing it back down to a point where anybody and everybody can not only appreciate the beauty, but can have the benefits of incorporating this into your everyday lifestyle. And
Yeah.
and I feel like that is such an incredible, you touched on mental health. And I feel like one thing through the pandemic with all of this craziness, we've seen surges, in flower demands, especially with local farmers, because of the event industry being off for a while. And then now that that's back, it's even more crazy. But even like, I know that I was talking with someone and we were talking about how like garden centers and house plants and all these things have had such a resurgence that they don't see it going away for the next 10 years. They see that it is really infused now into our being. And it's like, I think people want to learn more, want to learn how to take care of these things, want to learn how to design, want to learn. And so I can't help but think you're in the perfect place at the right time. And what really excites me is I feel like there's some other channels out there that have tried to do this kind of thing, but
Mhm.
always stray away, and it becomes more home improvement than it actually is
Yeah.
more into this, flower centric thinking. And that's
Yeah.
what really excites me about it, because I'm like, there's definitely a gap in the marketplace for something like this. And I
Mhm.
think the love of flowers and plants only, which we're seeing everywhere, only demonstrates that this is going to be a huge thing. And so I'm so
Yeah.
excited. I can't wait. I know, I have my backstage pass and I've seen a few of the videos, and I'm like, wow, this is really great content.
Oh my gosh.
And
And you know what? And that's all from the experts. That's not even our professionally made productions. That's all expert content. And we're getting these in, and we're like, oh my gosh, people are just going above and beyond to create incredible videos.
well, the quality is really there. So, like when it launches, is it, I guess I'm envisioning something.
I think the best way to refer to it is a streaming flower powered platform. And it's going to have this beautiful combination of not only expert content, which we're calling our expert amateur content, that many of our experts make themselves and send in and upload to their profiles. But we're also, as we're building this and as we're getting ready to launch, we're looking at who are those experts, what are those ideas, what are those different show concepts that could be incredible shows and series. And what do we want to put our production into, and which show concepts and ideas, which is a big part of why we're launching this Backstage Pass in December. Is we want the people to help us determine who are we going to be creating shows around and which concepts are going to go over really well. And So it's going to be this beautiful combination of the expert content, of professionally produced shows and series from the Bloom TV team. And then also, we've got the, you know, blogs on there, and we've got, just all sorts of information. We've got the cooks and the recipes and all the things.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So so maybe run through the kind of content, because like you said, you've mentioned recipes and cooks and floral
Oh yeah.
design. Are we having
What?
landscape people
Oh my
or?
gosh. Yes, we've got, what's really interesting here is we have we've created something that we want all of the experts who are coming to play with Bloom TV, we want them to really benefit. You know what, I come from a family of really hard workers, and a lot of times that work didn't always pay off. It would be a lot of hours and a lot of just breaking even, of putting everything that you had worked so hard for the last like month right back into the company just to break even again. And we're like, how do we create something that is really profitable for all of these experts in the industry? And so we've set up a system that allows for them to make money off of this. So unlike other streaming platforms where you go in and you're paying a monthly fee to, watch something that was produced by a company that, maybe the people who are starring in it receive some kind of payout or something like that. But we have something in place where if every expert has their own affiliate link, and whenever you sign up for the whole of Bloom TV as a subscriber, that expert gets paid monthly for every single subscriber that comes in. And so we're creating this system of, they're making these videos on gardening and landscape, and they're putting their time and energy into professional videos around cooking with flowers or biophilic design, or even just the health benefits of flowers. And they're putting all this time and energy into something that if you were to put it on another platform that I won't name, you got to get 100,000 views to make $8 at the end of the month. And we didn't want that. We wanted something that they could truly make a living from, and it be this residual income. So as they're growing, as Bloom TV is growing, we're all in it together. And it's this beautiful process because we've got experts that originally came in thinking, oh, this is going to be a competition, like whoever gets the most views and blah 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 gets a show. And now they're all like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, because they see the whole vision here, which is, as we all grow and are bringing traffic in, we are all being elevated and rewarded for the things that we're putting out there on the platform, which is really insane. We had a conversation with one of our experts just yesterday, and she said, originally I was just so excited to, get a show, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to compete with all these incredible experts. And she goes, and now, through our meetings and all the collaboration, she's like, I'm like, oh my God, they all deserve a show. I want this person to have one. And it's incredible because we're seeing all these experts now promoting each other and still benefiting from that, even if somebody else comes and signs up for another, through another expert's link. But it's yeah, it's incredible. I maybe that was a little diverge off your question, but I wanted to cover that because it is something we're really proud of. Is, how are we not just restoring the Edens of all these people coming to Bloom TV, but how are we making it possible for other people to put more time and energy into what restores them,
Mhm.
without having the incredible stresses of just trying to get by? So how are we paying people for their hard work? And
I love
we're
that. Yeah, I
really
love that. And the other thing I love is the fact that it opens the door for opportunity for people who might not have the following or have
right.
the market share,
Mm-hmm.
and but yet it can really connect with an audience.
Yes.
I know I've seen that on social media so many times where these great people, they may not have all the experience, but they
Yeah.
are just so relatable
Mm-hmm.
and down to earth. And it's like you're learning with them, and they're sharing their journey. And I feel like That just it's very, like I said, relatable, and I just really love this idea.
You know,
Um,
it's good. And on that note too,
mhm.
it is that huge range of God, the amount of experts I've sat down with that said, I want to do this. I am not an expert. And I said, perfect. You're exactly what we're looking for because we want all of those different ranges. We want people that are just starting out. We want people that have 5 businesses under their belt and are running an empire. We want everyone in between because everybody coming that side is going to relate to somebody different or feel like they can even ask them questions that maybe they wouldn't ask another company that is so far along that it's not relatable anymore.
Sure.
And so on that spectrum, we've got one girl, she's in college and she's, literally on BloomTV, she's talking about her journey of starting a florist shop while in college and what that's been like and her process and what she's learning and she's still in college now and then we've got people that have several companies under their belt and know the industry backwards and forwards. And it's a beautiful thing to have that many options to choose from and people to relate to.
Well, sure, and especially having the international side of it too. I mean, having
Yeah.
traveled to a lot of different places,
Mhm.
it's always fascinating to see how other cultures and people groups then
Yeah.
how they work with flowers or how they grow their flowers because of the part of the
Mhm.
country they're in, or how they design with flowers and celebrate with them. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's really really exciting. So, you said earlier that you're planning for your major launch to be in the
Mhm.
spring.
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna be cheesy and do the whole April showers, bring May flowers type deal. Um, Partially because it sounds good, and the other part because we want that long to put a lot of good content on Bloom TV for everybody. So we'll just be working on building up the buzz and letting everybody know, literally across the globe, that we're coming in the spring. And yeah, so that'll be our big launch. And
I love that.
yeah, lots of good things come. There'll be a lot of new experts by then as well. So ones that a lot of our people aren't going to be able to see on the Backstage Pass. So it'll be exciting.
So, how many different programs do you think, or series, or however you refer to it, will you have when you launch? Any idea?
Video, yeah, video content. We're looking at almost 1,000 pieces. This is some, yeah. Listen, I know your eyes got big just
I
then. Let
know.
me tell you, the Bloom TV team is exhausted. Let me just say, we have been working our tails off, convincing people we're not bots when we contact them, and it's all paying off. But a lot of this will be that expert, what we're calling amateur content, which in reality, the majority of that content is being professionally shot because people are going above and beyond and treating it like it's their pilot shows. And in some cases, it is. And so it'll be a lot of that on there. We will have a documentary on there already, a couple of pieces professionally produced by the Bloom TV team. And as we finish mini series and shows and productions, we will also be adding that in there. And yeah, we can't say how many we will have at this point because we don't know yet. What we do know is that we're gonna have at least 1,000 pieces of content and videos, and probably a couple hundred experts by then as well.
Wow, that's incredible. I'm so excited. And so, when you have that much content, I mean, the variety must be amazing. I love this idea of helping people return back to their Eden or
Mhm.
create that. The self-care, the self-help, this idea, this sort of mission, like you
Mhm.
mentioned earlier. Um, do you think it's going to incorporate also the sustainability side of
Oh,
it? Because so much, that's one thing with the floral industry, that there is this huge trend of trying to become more green, if you will, more.
yeah.
And I'm just curious, how you guys are approaching those topics.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked that question because the main source of my what I feel called to in this Restoring Eden project is is the actual restoring of the land, Eden. And I realized that that starts with the person first in order to change their inner world so that they can change their outer world. And with that being a big piece of me really loving the idea of how do we like physically restore the planet back to her, original state. It's sustainability is a big part of that. And we have experts from all over the globe doing all different types of techniques, having all different types of beliefs. And although we hope that we can eventually become a source where everybody that is playing within the BloomTV realm as experts, as elevated experts, uh, practicing sustainable models, we realize that you first have to educate. And we're not turning anybody away right now. We're saying, if you got something special to share, come and share it, while also putting a big focus on who are these sustainable florists, who are these people that are practicing organic gardening or their own growing their own
Sure.
flower farms and practicing sustainability. And we're bringing them to the platform as well, and we're doing a special search for that and saying, because we've had some experts that said, like, I only want to be a part of something if it's promoting all sustainability. And our response to that is in order to reach the world and create the source for all things floral, you have to be willing to play with other people that have a different audience and use us as that platform that you can stand on to educate the public. We're a megaphone for experts, and so we're saying, if you've got a good message, come and share it on this megaphone. And although we've got experts practicing with things that we don't necessarily like, we we're still opening that floor up because we're saying you do have something special to share here. And yes, maybe we're using some practices here that aren't so sustainable. We're hoping that this expert helps educate that and maybe even other experts on like better practices and uses. But we know that you have something really beautiful to share, and you're really good at teaching people how to overcome their fears around building a business in the floral industry. And that's why you're here, is because you're helping somebody restore their inner Eden while this person is helping to restore the outer. And we're hoping that through that education and bringing everybody together, we can grow together and learn how to incorporate all these beautiful practices into our lives.
Wow. Yeah, and that is a challenge because I know
Mhm.
it's hard. It it's like you have this opportunity. Like, I love what you said. You're a megaphone,
Yeah.
and you have this opportunity to help educate more people on a
Mhm.
platform like this because frankly there aren't a lot of opportunities to really get the word out there to the masses
Sure.
like something like this could potentially be
Yeah.
and will be. And I feel like, it's a good platform to at least have the conversations on. And I hope
Yeah.
that more people will embrace that uh, and not be scared to because of
Yeah.
what other experts might practice. So
Well, and what's interesting here, and it's a big conversation that we've had with some experts, especially ones around, that have come in and said like, oh, but this person uses this and I don't agree with that. And we're like, are you on Instagram? Are you on Facebook? Why are you on those platforms then? Like, other people on that platform, aren't, sustainable. And we have to look at it from that way. As my partner says, uh, anything becomes a platform when you have a message to share. And we're opening that up. We don't want people to shy away because maybe somebody's not sustainable here, because there's a whole group here that is. And it's a matter of bringing the right people to the stand and bringing all the public to one place where they can really see all the different options. And I think over time, as we grow and as we, move forward in this industry, a lot of things are going to change, but they're not going to change if you exclude people. They're going to change when you educate the masses. And so that's what we want to do.
I love that. That's really good. So when you launch, okay, so once the backstage passes are sold out, then everyone has to wait till the spring.
I know,
What
suckers.
I
Just
know. I'm glad I
kidding.
have my backstage pass. So, yeah, so how do we direct people to get backstage passes?
Well, so they can go to bloomtvnetwork.com and get their pass. We only have 1,000 of these lifetime memberships and backstage passes that we're selling to 22 after Cyber Monday.
So it's 222. The regular price is 222 for the lifetime membership.
Yes,
For those first 1,000
for
spots.
now, yeah, it's not gonna be here in 2022 at the start of the year. There won't be an option for a lifetime membership.
Yeah, I can't imagine you won't sell out Cyber Monday. So if you're
Yeah.
listening to this episode after that, I'm sorry, but make sure you jump on anyway, just in case there's some availability. And we got to check this out. So yeah, that's incredible. And then, and even that monthly rate is still kind of crazy low. So that's for, especially for the amount of content that you're going to be generating. So, I'm really excited about that. Well, I know that you have to be super busy. So, are you doing any shows since you've done your
Oh my
baking and
gosh.
pastry with the flowers and stuff?
I did a few tester shows only because I needed to in the beginning. You will not see me in any more shows. I will be working behind the scenes, promoting Bloom TV, coming up with more ideas. My business partner and I are very, very good at being visionaries, and we know what our strengths are, and also know that there are better people to do shows. You don't want me to do a show. I'm not fun to watch, and they'll leave after probably 30 seconds. So I'm leaving that to the professionals that want to do this and are good at what they do. So no, you will not. You will not.
Okay.
You'll have to watch this podcast to get a glimpse.
There you go. I love that. So, I always like to ask our guests for a piece of advice, and with what you're doing and who you're targeting, and maybe it's a piece of advice that you want to that's maybe has meant a lot to you and your journey, or maybe it's a piece of advice that you'd like to leave our listeners.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I can't do a sales thing here, can I? My advice is you have to get the pass before it's no longer available.
I think we've
Uh,
done that already, so I think we're okay there.
okay.
Yeah.
No, I think my biggest piece of advice, it's hard to sum it up to one, but I think the biggest thing is do what you feel called to do and do what you love to do, because you got to start somewhere, and it doesn't matter. Don't be afraid to fail.
Mm.
Don't, you know, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Just don't be afraid. Just do it, because so much can come out of it, or so much cannot come out of it, but it really doesn't matter, because in the end, people are going to notice, and you got to take risks sometimes, and they don't have to all be successful. My god, my business before this, we transitioned into this because everything changed, and we knew we needed to go a digital route, and I don't see that as a failure. I did for some time. I thought, "Oh my gosh, it's a failure. This business is a failure." And really the reality of it is it wasn't, because it led into something that was really, really grand. Every single failure, my god, it pushes you into something better. And if you allow it to be a lesson and push you into something better. So I think that would be my piece of advice.
Yeah, well, that's awesome because I feel like so many times we forget that these things aren't failures, but they're just pieces of the journey.
Yes. Yeah.
And so many times I know personally for me, sometimes when you're in the middle of it, you just feel like, okay, this is not where this is wrong, or this doesn't feel comfortable, like you said.
Mhm.
But it's just a piece of the journey that gets us to that next level. And
It is. And you know what, that brings up point. Here's my second piece of advice, since I'm so glad you asked.
I love
No,
it.
I just, on that note, it threw me. There is another piece to this, and it is that remember to enjoy the journey, because so many of us, including myself, at times get focused on that end result, that end game result. And if you don't enjoy the journey along the way, I mean, you'll miss the whole thing. And I think that the journey sometimes itself can be even more rewarding than the actual thing at the end. And so I think remembering to really look at that and enjoy it is huge. And
Well,
that's it. That's my advice. I won't throw in a third one. Just get really excited, because so many good lessons have come out of just this last couple of years.
well, those are both great, and I appreciate you sharing it. And we're excited about Bloom TV, and I can't wait to see what's in store for you and your whole team, and all of us that get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. And thank you so much for being on the Flower Podcast.
Oh my God, thank you for having me. I'm honored.